Let's look at the challenges in the strings chapter. The first challenge is how to reverse a string. You have a string, say AJAY, A, J, A, Y. You want to reverse the string, Y, A, J, J, A, right? This goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. How do you reverse the string? Well, you can do it in a variety of ways. You can go by indexing. And when you do that, it works like this. Say we have a string AJAY. First thing, find out the length of the string. How much is the length of the string? 4. Next, we run a while loop or a for loop. Let's say we run the while loop. While length greater than 0. So we got to start from the end and then reduce the count. Well, length greater than 0. Have another string called reversed string as a variable. Reversed name. So reversed, we initialize it to a blank, just a blank. Reversed underscore string equals or plus equals name, which is this, name of length minus 1. You say minus 1 because the length is 4 characters, but the indices start with 0, 1, 2, 3. So the last character is 3, not 4. That's why you say length minus 1. So you're essentially concatenating first the letter Y, the last letter, and then you say length equals or minus equals 1. So you are subtracting one letter from length. Now the length becomes 3. 4 minus 1 is 3, right? Length greater than 0, yes. Now you take 3 minus 1, that is 2, this character. So you add that, and then you add this, and then you add the first character, right? So that's how you can reverse a string. You can do this also using the for loop if you want, but you'll have to count from the reverse somehow. Okay, so let's do it using the while loop. That's simpler. Okay, so enter a string to be reversed. So we say AJAY. Okay, now we got to initialize the length as a variable. Length equals len of name. Len is a global function in Python that returns the length of anything you pass along. Now, what do I mean by anything? Now, in the future chapters, we are going to learn about dictionaries. We're going to learn about lists, tuples. These are all data structures for which you might need length. How big is this list? How big is this dictionary? Len is a function built into Python, a global function that will give you the length of a string or any other object that you pass along. Okay, let's see. So what is length? Length is 4. Good. Now we got to run this loop. Before we run this loop, we got to have a placeholder for the string that we are going to reverse. If you don't have that, you can just print it out. For example, let's print it out. While length greater than 0, right? Print name of length minus 1. So we have already spoken about why we are using length minus 1 instead of length. And length equal to length minus 1. We are reducing the count of length. Okay. So what do we have here? The last letter is Y. The last but one is A, and then J, and then A. We are just printing it out. If we did not want to print it out, we could have created a new variable called reversed underscore name, and then assign it to a blank, and then keep concatenating it to that variable, the characters. How do we do that? Reverse underscore name is blank, and instead of printing it out, we're going to say reversed underscore name equals reversed underscore name plus the character. So instead of printing it out, we are accumulating all the characters, and then we can print it out like so. Oh, we didn't reset the length variable, right? So we lost it. Okay. There we go. Reversed underscore name. Next, split a word or user entered string into its words. So the user enters a string, any string that he likes, and we got to split it into words. What do we do for that? We use the split function of strings. And then there is something else. Print each of the word with the initial letter capitalized. So there are three things that we have to do. First thing is we have to take a string from the user. What do we do for that? Use the input function. Second thing, split it. Use the split function to split that text, user entered text, into its words. Number three, each of the word should be printed with the initial letter capitalized. Which function do you use for that? A couple of functions like capitalize or title. If we do these three things, we are done. Except we got to run this in a loop, right? So let's do that. Okay, so user enters a string like, okay, and then what is name? Okay, this is what the user has entered. Now we need to be able to split it. Name equals name.split. What is name now? Ajay Tech Tutorials. The words from the sentence are split into its separate entities. Now, here is a trick. We can use the for loop to go through or iterate through this set of words. There is another chapter on data structures called list that we'll be going through shortly. Once you understand that this is actually a data structure called lists, you'll be able to clearly understand why we are using a for loop. But until that point, just understand that we're using a for loop to iterate over a range. In this case, it's not a range of numbers, it's a range of words, right? So it's called an iterable. So for word in name, remember, this has got to be an iterable. A list of numbers or a list of words, a list of sentences, a list of objects, any kind of object. So we have done the first two things already. We have taken the input from the user. We have split the user text into its individual words. Now we got to print the capitalized words. How do we do that? Print word.title. See? So in case you're thinking nothing has changed, that's because I have entered the text with initial capital letters. Let me do this. Ajay Tech with small letters. Now let me split it. Okay, now we got all small letters. Now let's execute this algorithm. There you go. These small letters have been capitalized. Initial letter of the word has been capitalized. All right, next one. Convert a string to uppercase. This is really easy. Dot upper. It converts all the characters in the string to uppercase. Check if all the characters in the string are alphanumeric. Dot is alpha num. Remember, is alpha num, is alpha. These are all functions centered around the fact that you can easily figure out how a string is. Is it completely alphabetic? Are there any strings in it? Are there any special characters in it? Are there any numbers in it? Is it devoid of alphabets? In which case it returns a false. So the string object in Python has a number of functions that allows you to manipulate the string in terms of its alphabetic nature. Find the greater of three numbers. We have already seen this when we ran the program. Find the older of three students. So I'm not going to cover that here. Next, find the number of occurrences of a character in a user-defined string. Well, how will this work? Let's see, the user enters a string, say Ajay Tech Tutorials, and the user also enters a letter. Find out how many times A, the letter A, has occurred in this sentence. How many times did it occur? 1, 2, 3. The answer is 3. How many times did L occur? 1. So given a sentence and a letter, you have to find out how many times this letter has occurred in that statement or string. How do you do it? Of course, you have to loop through the entire sentence and compare each character with the user entered character to be verified. If it is true, increment a counter. It's really simple. Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's set up a counter. Counter, start with 0. Also, we got to find out which character to search for. So input, enter character to search. Say we are searching for A. Okay, so we have set the counter to 0, and then every time we find that character in the string, we increment it. We increment the counter. So how do you iterate over a string? For character in, that's it. Or you can use index, use a while loop or a for loop, for example, find out the length of the string and then iterate from 0 all the way up through the length of the string. You can do it either way. So if character is equal to char, whatever the user has entered, then counter equals counter plus 1. Execute. Now let's see what is counter. Counter is 0. So nothing really happened. So why? So it's not working. Something went wrong. Now let's see where we went wrong. So over here, you can do it by putting this program in Visual Studio Code, put a break statement and start debugging. Another quick way to debug is by using the print statement. So print character. So what is a character? We're going to print it. And we're also going to print char, because those are the two things that we are comparing in this for loop. Okay, let's execute this. Okay, so the first one says character is Ajay, but char is A. So we are comparing the entire word with a letter. That's not possible, right? Meaning we cannot do it using the for loop. For loop does not give you all the individual letters one by one. It's giving you word by word. It's more or less like for word in name. So for loop does not work. So what works? Well, for loop works, but not this way. So you got to do it in a different way. What is the length of this entire sentence? We got to go letter by letter. So length equals len of name. So we have the length of the string. Now for I in range of 0, comma, length, meaning we are going to iterate over this string one index at a time. Name of I is equal to character, then we got to increment the counter. Let's execute this. There we go. We found the counter to be 3. So there are 3 occurrences of the letter A in Ajay Tech Tutorials, right? 1, 2, 3. How about the letter L? L should occur only once, right? L should occur only once. Okay. How about T? T should occur once, twice, thrice, right? How about the letter T? It should happen 3 times, right? You got 3 here. How about a letter that does not exist? Say capital T. Does it exist? No, it does not. So the counter should be 0, right? If you wanted to do a case insensitive search, right? Then how do you do it? So you can do something like this. Dot upper, right? You're converting both of them to upper characters so that you're not doing a case sensitive search. Now T should return something because there are 3 small letter t's, although you're asking for a capital T because you're doing a case insensitive search. See, you got the number 3. That is because you have now modified the code to be a case insensitive search. All right. Okay, the next challenge is to find out the number of occurrences of a lowercase and uppercase characters in a string. Lowercase and uppercase. How do you do that? So what is needed here? Say we have a string A, J, A, Y, T, E, C, H. How many uppercase characters are there? How many lowercase characters are there? There is 2 uppercase characters and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lowercase characters, right? We want to count how many uppercase characters are there and how many lowercase characters are there. How do you find it? Once again, we iterate through each of the elements in the string. But instead of just one counter, we need counter underscore small and we need a counter underscore capital, right? Okay, so the iteration part will still be the same. But the comparison part says if name underscore I is upper, counter underscore small equals counter underscore small plus 1. But if it is lower, oh, this has got to be capital because we are looking for capital letters. And then is lower will increment the small letter counter. So let's execute this. Okay, so what are the values of count underscore small and count underscore capital? Count underscore small is 17. Counter underscore capital is 0 because there is no capital letter in this string. Let's try to enter a capital letter. So there are 2 capital letters, the capital T and another capital T. Enter. Now let's rerun this. Counter underscore capital is 2. If you run counter underscore small, you'll get the count of all the small letters. All right, so we have come to the end of all the challenges. And in the next chapter, day 4, we'll look at functions.